Welcome back for another I Don't Work Here Lady video. Today we have 3 stories for you to enjoy. As always, don't forget to share and like if you enjoy these videos. Without further ado, here we go. You work here. You are just choosing not to help. Myself as OP, Karen as Karen, Chad as Karen's husband, HT as head state trooper, SB as guest services supervisor. Oh yeah, the wild Karen that comes and goes at various points in life. During college, I had a very well-paying but high-stress gig as a guest service manager at M Stadium in the NYC area. Mind you, this job paid me just enough to pay for gas in college and for a few nights out with friends. I grew up relatively broke, my parents paid the bills and food was always on the table. But allowance, it meant you had to work. So I valued the time I get to hang out with my friends and do stuff. M Stadium would do ticket drops for employees and my friends would always ask to go. So one day, a few weeks after I graduated college, yay, finally time to make some real money, my friends and I went to a concert. Mind you, I've worked at the stadium for years at this point. I've had drunk Karens, violent chats, wild Daves, you name it. I've seen the alcohol-induced version of it. Guest service manager means during events, walk around, field complaints, and get guests whatever they want. Drop the beer, I'll get you a comp. Feel like the guy next to you is cursing too much near your kids, get security to make an appearance. It involved a radio headset and lots of power walking. It was lots of fun most nights. Few drunks here and there, some unruly guests, but Karens are always the worst. This job is about servicing thousands of fans as fast as possible. Karens are a waste of time efficiency. The cool thing is, once I got upgraded to manager, I didn't have to wear a M Stadium logo shirt. I got to wear business casual and the radio headset, more like Secret Service style instead of gamer style. At this point, I'm a familiar face to most of the regular employees, and my very visible ID helps the employees who do not recognize me. Our rules clearly state that if we visit M Stadium as guests, we must leave our IDs and work attire at home. So I wear some jeans and a band t-shirt for the night. Mind you, it's my birthday weekend, it's a great band, and my friends and I just finished college. All my colleagues are aware of this, it's gonna be a great night. Stadium M charges an arm and a leg for parking. It is one of the biggest complaints. My supervisor comps my parking like a boss, and we park in the closest lot for employees. My friends and I are hyped and we get in line for security. Some of my usual team members walk by into their security line, we catch up and they all wish me happy birthday. A work aunt of mine, Mary, promises to treat me with free drinks and food. I'm all ears, although I avoid the food personally, cause I've seen where it's prepared. Hence a life goal of as little fast food as possible. This weekend though, rules are out of the window. I should have known though, a Karen had seen and heard it all. I get asked by a person, I don't turn around to look at them, as one of my work friends gives me a hug and leaves. Do you work here? I respond, not today. I used to work guest services though. She immediately starts a 500 question game and I'm in a pretty good mood, so I answer willingly, unknowingly feeding the beast. I explain how the layout for concerts is a little overwhelming. There are 2 local bathroom facilities for the roughly 3,000 general admission area, but once you know where to go, you are pretty much set in terms of food and bathrooms. So I give her a quick 30 seconds of my time while we wait to go through security. Karen is with her burly Chad and 2 kids. I know the type from a glance, the dad who gets super drunk and lets loose while his wife blames everyone else. I had a guy who pulled a girl's top down while drunk and his wife physically attacked the girl for being too promiscuous around her drunk as F husband. The poor girl was 16. It was not one of the brightest situations I had to report on. We get through security and Karen and her family start following me around. It's a general admission crowd, so there is no seating. Right away she lays into me. Hey OP, why does the upper ring get seat and we don't? I have children. They are going to want to sit. Still polite, I explained that on her ticket in bold it states GA, standing only. Her family has vanished at this point and my friends have gone ahead. I start to walk away, she goes, LP, you work here. You have to help me, I can't stand all night. I point out the guest services booth, tell her quickly to state her family issue to them and they will be glad to help. I turn to walk away and she grabs my wrist. Excuse me, you're being rude. Do not walk away from me while I'm talking to you. I respond, Madam, I gave you an answer. I'm not an employee here tonight. Please file a complaint. Our company is very strict when it comes to us attending as guests. We cannot wear our IDs or become involved with our normal working duties, i.e. breaking up fights or going into employee-only zones. Karen doesn't let go. At this point, we just look like a couple disagreeing on where to go. No one intervenes, which is fine. I reach back and remove her hand from my wrist. Little did I know this was far from the end. Later on, I meet my friends, the concert is half done, drinks are cut off, food sales are ending, not before my friends and I have a good fill of comp stuff. I've been a decent employee, very reliable, very good reviews, it feels great. I do not know how, but somehow in a dark crowd of 3,000 people, Karen reappears. The main act is on. And Karen needs a bathroom. And her chat husband wants more beer. I'm not drunk, but I'm not sober at this point. I'm jumping up and down and enjoying myself. My friends are having a good time. Then a hand grabs me and pulls me back from jumping. I have a shoulder injury from pitching in high school, and the grab was very unexpected. None of my friends notice right away because it is from behind. Immediate pain. It's a Karen's chat. Immediately he lays into me saying, "Hey, she asked you a question." I could smell the number of drinks on him. Still in pain with this huge drunk guy twisting my in pain arm around me back. She tries to tell me over the sound of 300 loudspeakers what she needs, and I cannot hear a word she is saying. Finally the song ends and one of my bigger friends turns, sees me in pain and shoves the drunk Chad back off me. Chad stumbles backwards, trips and falls into a group of people. At this point security rushes over. Karen abandons me, her children, and is screaming for someone to help her husband. I slowly get off the ground in pain as my friends hover over me. I will admit our security they swarm. Very quickly. My friend's livid. He looks like the aggressor and Karen lays into him while security separates everyone. I end up on my feet next to Karen's crying kids. The band starts playing again and the lights dim again. Security takes everyone involved into the employee corridor. Karen is with her husband and not even noticing her kids. I point them out to a friend of mine and he brings them in with us. Once the door shuts and there is less music, Karen lays into my friend and me, saying how I work here and refuse to help, and then how my friend attacked her husband while he was holding her children, all fabricated for maximum sympathy. At this point, state troopers are involved because Chad got hurt and is visibly bleeding, and the guest was injured when he bolted into them. My super SP arrives with her personal state trooper, HT. They work together always. And they both notice me to the side with my friend immediately. She crips right away. OP, I should have known. The HT gives me a quick nod, we are on good terms. I comp his sniper guys with hot chocolate during the winter games. Karen gets first crack, immediately unleashes a tirade at me once again, spitting with fury. Her story went along the lines of how I boosted to my friends, I work here in the line, how I got mad at her for asking where the restrooms were, and then during the concert how I jumped in front of her and her kids with my friends, and when she politely asked me to move, I attacked her husband. She keeps it up and goes a little too far in saying how she recorded me dancing instead of working. Unable to get her story straight, she speaks a little too much. The HT asks me for my ID and I tell him it's at home. That I am not working tonight, Karen gets pissed, saying I used it to get free drinks. My super asked me if I had been drinking, I answered truthfully and then show her a receipt for one of the drinks I was comped. Karen keep interrupting. Another trooper tells her to knock it off while they start talking to the group that Chad knocked over. One of them got hurt and I can't hear what they are saying, but when the trooper comes back around, he asks me how my shoulder is feeling. I had not told him about having my arm pinned in behind me. The woman had told him how she was standing behind me, saw the guy grab me violently and then my friend pushed him off before the melee went off. She had been recording the concert and got a full video of the chat. It was epic. I start smirking cause I was still a little tipsy and Chad sees this. He bum rushes past some of the security folks between us, screaming, "I'm gonna wipe that smirk off your face." The rest of the security swarm him and he's pinned to the ground, arms behind his back. Karen is screaming at police brutality and I'm just in shock and awe. After Chad is gone, Karen claims I assaulted her earlier and her husband was trying to defend her. Recall the time she grabbed my wrist. She claims I bruised her arm when I removed her hands from. HT asks me if it is true I touched her early. I respond yes. She grabbed me so I removed her hand. He sighs, saying he has to take a full statement on both incidents separately because she is claiming assault. I'm pissed, but I go with it. Concert has ended at this point, and HT and his team take the whole lot of us to conference rooms. At this point, the group, pretty much now just a couple Chad hit into, has filed their statement. Our stadium rarely follows up on assault cases. They usually put in a 4-hour hold, wait for the patrons to sober up, and then let them go. So I'm very chill. I explain this to my friend and a couple while Karen shoots us dirty looks from across the room. They all deem this outcome acceptable. I apologize for ruining the show for them and explain if they ever choose to come back, I'll do what I can. Karen gets pissed at this and is mad. I ignore her and continue to sober up. Eventually, I gave my statement. It devolves into a he said, she said situation, which is fine by me. The HC comes in and explains to me and Karen, simply put, he doesn't plan to take anyone to get booked. He says he will let Chad go and the stadium won't press charges if Karen chooses not to press charges either. Karen gets livid. She's still a bit under the influence. She starts ranting on how the stadium is showing favoritism because an employee assaulted her, and how no one wanted to help her since the moment she walked into the door. She starts her poor guest service rant with, I couldn't get anyone to help me, not even OP, he just kept walking away from me and I only got an answer from him when I grabbed his arm. Bam, my ears are burning at this point. Karen keeps going, but at the point HC has stopped listening. She finally finishes and HC calmly asks her, what do you mean you had to grab OP to get an answer? She immediately clams up. Realizing her mistakes, she starts in on how no one was willing to help her with her kids and she had to get someone's attention. HC tells her to can it and asks me if I want to press charges because she made physical contact first. Karen is pissed. HC asks her how much she had to drink and tells someone to pick up her and her kids. It's well past 1 AM in the morning at this point. HC and SB are ready to end this. Karen is not. She keeps ranting. HC says one more word and I will put you in a cell. Eventually, Karen calls someone to get her kids and the couple decides to not press charges on Chad. Karen gets upset when HC states it's late and they will hold Chad overnight at the barracks 10 miles away. Karen gets livid. She spits at HC, who lets another sigh out and arrests her. SB comes by and apologizes. She offers me another comp ticket for the show tomorrow, but I decline and offer them to the couple who kind saved me from losing my job. They love it and it was the least I could do for unintentionally ruining their night. It was a side gig at this point, but it was still fun. Eventually I returned a week later as the village idiot. Word traveled fast that I fought a guest and it just got out of hand from there. I laughed it off for about a year, till there was a huge management change and they threw guest relations under the bus any chance they had. I was sad to go, but I had a corporate gig and I was just going for fun at this point. My SB quit and I followed her a month later. No regrets. HC told me Karen got community service and probation for assaulting a peace officer when she spit on him. Her husband got off with no charges. Background. I worked for a video retail chain for around 6 years. I loved this job. I had to be let go due to cutbacks at one point, but was offered my job back when they needed to restaff the second location in my town. This is important as I am not the one to take second chance lightly and I worked my way up to being offered the manager position at an adjacent town. Characters: me, dad, my dad, LOL, little old lady, H, exiting manager, C, bad employee, CB, C's boyfriend, staff. Story. So here's one with a little bit of an r/prorevenge twist. I was offered to be a new manager at a sister location of the video rental store I worked at. I happily accepted it and told my folks when I got home. Over the next week, I talked a bit with current manager of that location, H. I asked little things like, what was the clientele like, what restaurants are near the store, and finally, what's the staff like. For that last one, she informed that the staff was great, sans one particular employee, C. C apparently was never on time and had a number of complaints regarding her language on the sales floor. H offered to let C go for me, but I told her that I would handle it should it be necessary. A week before my introductions to the staff, my dad randomly asked if I wanted to drive over to the store to get a feel for it before I started there. I said yes and off we went. I checked the schedule to see who was working and it was C. When we arrived, I immediately noticed that C was in clear violation of the dress code as she was not wearing the uniform. Khaki pants, solid colored polo shirt, and name tag. She was wearing a spaghetti strap tank top, very short, cut-off jean shorts that showed the pockets hanging under the leg opening, and no name tag. There was another guy working who was running the returned movies to the shelves, and was also in violation of the dress code. Monster Energy t-shirt and baggy jeans. This struck me as odd as she was the only one scheduled and it was slow. My dad and I walked around talking quietly to ourselves. He then noticed the western section and excused himself to browse. A few minutes later I felt a tap on my shoulder and it was a little old lady. Little old lady. I need some help finding a movie. Oh, I'm sorry, don't work here and it's my first time in the store so I don't quite know my way around yet. Can you please help me anyways? That rude girl up there can be bothered to help and that boy apparently isn't on staff. He isn't? Then why is he doing the work? They're sweeties, if you can call it that. I know his parents. Her boyfriend is visiting her on the clock and is doing her work for her? Yes. Well, that's no good. What did you need help with? I can't find a movie my grandson wants. She tells me the name of the movie and I helped her find it. I also recommended 2 more as there were rent 2 get 1 signs posted around the store. Thank you so much, they should get rid of her and hire you. Give it a week. She looked at me a little confused, but I just smiled, told her to trust me. My dad came up to me holding some movies and I asked her he would wait for me in the car while I grabbed them. He said okay and I went up to C. C, find what you were looking for? Me with a chuckle. I guess you could say that. Oh, and I have an account at the stores in my town's name. Okay, I just need your account card so I can make you one here. While she was typing everything up, CB walks you and starts talking to C. This guy hitting on you? No, he's just a customer. Quit being an asshole and finish putting those damn movies up. How many more do I got to effing put up? All of them. I ain't doing that shit. They don't pay me enough to do that mess. I'm just standing there a bit baffled. Since I've been at this store, she has now committed write-up offenses and doesn't even seem to care. She rings me up and hands me the movies. I ask her when they were due, as she didn't say. You're supposed to say the due date upon handing the movies over so that the cameras recorded the dialogue. See y'all, folks. They were due in a week, which I thought was perfect because that was the day of my intro meeting with the staff. I think you'll see where this is going now. 1 week later, it was the day of the intro meeting and I drove over. When I got there, I introduced myself to H and asked her to please pull up the footage from my transaction on the cameras and then turn the monitor off for me. She looked confused for a second, but then a smirk. I told her to call me over when everyone arrived. The rest of the staff showed up shortly and C showed up 15 minutes late. H got on to her for being late and warned her that the new manager may not be so forgiving. C stated that she wasn't afraid as they are understaffed and can't afford to let anyone go. H began the meeting by announcing that they would get to meet the new manager that day and called me over. C's eyes widened and she went white when I walked up. Me. Hello everyone, I wanted to start off by addressing something that I've been told is an issue here. H, could you play the tape back for me? Sure thing. We all watch the footage and everyone is just standing in tense silence, especially C. I'm guessing you all were able to spot what was wrong in that footage. C, do you have anything you'd like to say? Whatever, you. Me cutting her off. I thought so. Well, since you violated our uniform policy, had your boyfriend working for you, and hang out during your shift, and use vulgar language in front of a customer, my first act as manager of this store is to fire you. Please collect your things and leave. C started to tear up and left. I then turned to the rest of the staff and continued. Well, that must have been awkward for you all, but hey, from here on out, I believe you see that I'm pretty laid back as long as you simply follow the rules. The next day, little old lady came to return the movies and saw me behind the register. You weren't kidding, were you? No, madam, I was actually checking the store out with my dad that day. And that girl? Not going to be rude to you in the future. Haha, well, I'm afraid these are all late. Don't sweat it, I'll tell you what, I'll waive these on 2 conditions. First, you allow me to apologize for whatever was said to you last week by that girl. 2, you be sure to let me know when your grandson is coming in town so I can help you find him movies to watch. I think I can accept those terms. Little old lady ended up being one of my favorite customers. She would even bring me food when she saw I was working alone at night. Her chili was freaking amazing. I managed that store to its very end, as sadly, video rental stores were going out all over the place. She did try calling about getting her job back, but I simply said that I wouldn't be doing so as I had just hired 3 more staff members to help with the understaffing issue. I don't work here on my wedding day. This happened about a year and a half ago. My wedding was taking place in Vegas by an Elvis impersonator and everything. My wife and I aren't rich, so we were getting it done fast and cheap. We were staying at Buffalo Bill's Inn Prime outside Vegas. Again, being cheap. It was the day of my wedding and I was in a nice looking suit. My soon-to-be wife was still getting ready with her mother, so I decided to walk the casino floor and maybe play some penny slot or something. Insert confused tourist. Hey! Hey! Hey buddy! Me, what? Are you talking to me? Yeah, go get me some more $10 chips. Starts trying to hand me a small wad of money. Me just staring blankly at him. Now! Dude, I don't work here. You are wearing a suit. Who the hell wears a suit besides if you work here? Well, I promise you I don't work here. I'm getting married today. CT looks pissed off but has stopped talking to me. I decide immediately that I should just go back to the rooms. I start walking back towards them and CT starts trailing behind me a bit. I keep an eye on him as I start to get to the hallway with the elevators. He had gone to the front desk and started pointing at me. He still thought I was lying to him. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoy this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening and I will see you in the next video.